right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's begin with our expedited accusation calendar. This is with the State Court of Fulton County, and this calendar is for today, November 30th, 2023 at 2 p.m. This is a list of misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon thereafter, their cases were formally accused. So therefore, when I call your case, I will let you know what's your new accusation number. What are the charges brought against you? Who is going to be your appointed counsel unless you've retained an attorney, as well as to set a bond if one has not been set, or to seek a modification of your bond. Please remember that if you are a individual accused of one or more misdemeanor offenses, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney if you cannot afford one. We have attorneys from the Public Defender's Office or from our conflict defense list who will represent you. Courtroom 2, who do we have first?
Good afternoon, Judge Law. This is going to be position 10, Ms. Pham.
Okay. The screen is really up close to the defendant. Is there a way we can either move the individual a little step back or the computer a little back? I can only see the top of the head.
Back a little bit. Yeah. There we go. Yep.
Also, Your Honor, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be December the 14th.
Thank you. All right. And that's a Thursday, right?
That is a Thursday.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Okay, we have State versus Pham, 23 CR 7607J, accused of 2 counts of simple assault from November 29th of this year. Ms. Pham, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atei. Any priors? Mr. Howard?
Last was October 2022.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're really soft. The volume a little up. Your volume is really low.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Is there a microphone attached to the headset, or is it?
Can you hear me now?
No, it's quite soft.
All right, hold on. And you can give the hit, so I'll be back.
All right. Mr. Walker, would you like to contribute?
Yes, Your Honor. 1 second. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am showing that the defendant has 2 simple battery convictions from 2022, and I'm showing that it was a 2018 criminal trespass arrest. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to Grady Hospital, 80 Jesse Hill Drive, where they spoke to 2 victims. Their names are Ashley Lawrence and Diana Polo. They were treating the victim they were treating the defendant when the defendant attacked them unprovoked. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services. No contact with the 2 victims. I believe they're both employees at Grady. Again, their names are Ashley Lawrence and Diana Polo. Stay away from Grady Hospital unless seeking treatment. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And of course, we would sound for both victims, Ms. Lawrence and Ms. Polo.
Are either individuals present? No, I don't see them. Okay. Ms. Atei, does your client have is this a current mailing address at Virginia Circle?
Yes.
And is there family who lives there besides her?
Yes, she lives with her mom.
Okay. On the 2 counts of simple assault, the bond's going to be set at $1,500. The total bond is $3,000, signature bond through pretrial services. No contact with Ashley Lauren and Diana Polo, and to stay away from the Grady Hospital at 80 Jesse Hill Drive unless she has a specific medical appointment or is seeking emergency treatment. Those are the only 2 reasons that she's allowed back at that hospital. And while she's there on an appointment or seeking emergency treatment, she's to have no violent contact with any of the staff, no illegal drugs and no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. Her next court date will be sent to the Virginia Circle address. Thank you.
That was through pretrial, correct, Judge?
Correct.
Thank you. Position 7, actually, I'm asking for position 17, Mr. Tucker. He has a private attorney.
All right, is that Mr. Pilgrim?
Well, it's actually Jacob Stidham. I'm sitting in for him. He's actually in a calendar call in Gwinnett County.
All right, Mr. Pilgrim, could you give me the attorney's name again? Jacob?
Jacob Stidham, that's Stidham.
Okay, Stedham, got it. All right. Mr. Joshua Tucker is in custody under case number 23 CR 7596E, accused of battery, family violence from a November 2nd, 2023 incident. I believe that's the only charge against him. Mr. Tucker has been advised of his right to remain silent, and his attorney will be Jacob Stedham, currently being covered by attorney Mr. Pilgrim. Any priors, Mr. Howard? All right, that didn't work out well either. Mr. Pierre Thomas, do you have his GCIC?
Yes, I have that. We have in our office that he doesn't have any records. So I'm assuming this is his first offense. But brief record of the case or brief facts of the case is that the defendant caused visible bodily harm to his wife, the victim. The victim's name is Shannon, Shannon Tucker, traditional spelling, by attempting to grab her phone, causing red marks and scratches on her arms. There were also red marks and scratches on her back as well. We have been able to get in contact, or our office has been able to get in contact with the victim. She stated that her and the defendant are married. They live together at the incident location. They share 2 kids. She stated that the defendant was drinking, and she confronted him about the drinking, and the defendant got upset, and that's when things got physical. I do believe that she is on the call today, so if we could sound for her at the appropriate time. But the state's request, it appears that the incident date was a little off, but the state's request is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no contact, a stay away, and the completion of a family violence intervention program, given the nature of the charges.
All right, I really don't see a Shannon Tucker unless she goes by a different name. All right, Mr. Pilgrim?
Judge, my understanding, and we've had contact with his wife briefly, just for purposes of getting retained and having some basic initial information, given the fact that our client's been in custody. But it is our understanding, and I think it's kind of alluded to based upon what the state was indicating in the contact that they've had, whether is that she does want contacts. We would ask for a no violent contact provision be placed in there. If the court deems it appropriate to require him to do the family violence intervention program, that's fine. I would personally ask that we send him for an evaluation to determine if there's anything that needs to be done with regards to that. No prior history at all, anything to suggest that he has any other violent tendencies. So it's our position. I think an evaluation would be appropriate. And if they recommend any treatment after that, we would certainly have him comply. But other than that, Judge, I believe a signature bond would be appropriate, and we would specifically ask for no violent contact. That was what was conveyed to us, and is our understanding that's what she wants.
And it will be reporting to pretrial once a month. Any objection?
I guess if that's the court's requirement, I don't believe he's a flight risk. There's no issues along those lines, but court wants to do that, and we determine later at another time that we would like to ask for modification to that condition, we can certainly do that as well.
Bond is set at $3,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. He will report to pretrial once a month. In reporting to pretrial, he needs to satisfy the following conditions. He is to attend a one-day anger awareness program with the Fulton County Pretrial Services. He's to have no further violent contact with Shannon Tucker. He cannot get arrested again. He has to report to court, and he cannot be absent from any of his pretrial appointments in order to maintain his $3,500 signature bond. His next court date will be sent to his current mailing address. You probably need to confirm that as soon as possible.
And Judge, the contact provisions?
No further violent contact?
Okay.
Thank you. Next case, please.
And that's all I have. Can I be excused, Judge?
Yes, Mr. Pilgrim, thank you.
Thank you.
Position 15, Spidell.
Donna Spidell is accused of battery from a April 10th, 2023 incident. The accusation is 23 CR 7476E. Ms. Fidel, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Abden. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Can you hear me now?
Much better.
All right, 47 total. Last arrest was 2021, failure to appear. 2020 probation and battery. 2019 probation trespass. She had a 2019 ag assault that was dismissed. 2018 possession of cocaine given false name. 2018 simple assault conviction. 2015 simple battery conviction.
That's good. Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 169 Trinity Ave, where they spoke to the victim, Mr. Frederick Sullivan. He advised that the defendant walked into the location with a small stick in her hand. She was asked to leave. She did strike him with that stick. Afterwards, she turned around and ran out the front door, but after she ran out the front door, she turned around and threw the stick at him, hitting him yet again. There currently is a $2,000 surety bond set in place. We're asking that the bond is maintained at sit. Stay away from the incident location, 169 Trinity Ave. I believe it's some type of recovery center. No contact with the victim, whose name Frederick Sullivan. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 47 years old. She's originally from Alabama, but has been living in Georgia for the past 15 years. She does have strong ties to the community. She's currently residentially insecure, but she does work part-time doing maintenance. But her income is still very low, Your Honor. She qualifies for the public defender's office, and setting a bond for her today would be like no bond at all. She has agreed to stay away and a no further contact. I've also had a social worker go out and see her this morning. She was the medical reset from yesterday. And they determined that they don't need to do an MHET, but a BHET was done because they spoke with her. And so given her indigency, Your Honor, I am requesting a signature bond.
Bond is set at $500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Frederick Sullivan, to stay away from 169 Trinity Avenue. Her next court date is December 14th. And depending on your the social worker visit, you can make a determination of whether it needs to be on the 11 o'clock or the 9 o'clock calendar.
And Your Honor, based on what I've spoken with, they've stated that it is SAP would be fine.
Okay, SAP will be fine, 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 6, Kendricks. Have a seat right here. No.
This is Kimora Imani Kendricks, accused of simple assault, family violence, and willful obstruction of an officer. This is from a November 28th, 2023 incident, and the accusation is now 23 CR 7601D. Ms. Kendricks, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
No.
First arrest, all right.
Brief facts of the case is that on November 28, 2023, the officer was taken to the incident location, that incident location being 1671 James Jackson Parkway Northwest. In regards to an alleged carjacking, the officer met with the caller, the victim, who advised that she was arguing with her daughter, the defendant, when the two exited the vehicle, the defendant picked up some rocks and began chasing the victim around, throwing the rocks at her mother or in her mother's direction. The victim then advised the defendant got in the car, drove away. Police had to give the victim a courtesy ride to 2495 Watson Street. I'm assuming that's the home. Upon arrival, the officer witnessed the victim and the defendant's in the driver's seat of the vehicle. The defendant then tried to drive away, but she could not because the patrol car was blocking the driveway. She only made it to the bottom of the driveway. The officer then approached the vehicle, asked the defendant to step out, at which point she ripped out the keys from the ignition and began to run up the driveway, better yet. The officer advised the defendant to stop. She refused. She said she didn't want to talk. Officer attempted to detain her. She began to pull away. A struggle continued to ensue. Our office has been able to get in contact with the victim in this case, who is the defendant's mother. She advised that they live at the incident location. She stated that there is possible MH. I'll just leave it there. I do believe that she may be on the call. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from, I guess, the incident location since they live there, 1671 James Jackson Parkway Northwest, and the completion of one anger management course. And the victim's name in this case, it appears to be Kaleki, Keleki, Axam, Axam.
All right, I do see Miss Axum on the Zoom screen, vigorously shaking her head. Are you Miss Kaliki Axum?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Yes,
And-
I'm Keeliki Axum, Kamora's Kendrick's mom.
All right, and if you'd like to say anything, I'll need to place you under oath. And you need to
Okay.
stop, you need to stop moving around. You need to stay in one spot.
Okay. Okay.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
To my best of knowledge, yes.
Okay. You call the police.
I called the police. Me and my daughter had an incident.
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Well, my daughter faces mental health issues,
Okay.
and
So what happened as a result of the incident?
well, we was on our way to get food, and she's having some difficulties with right now with her mental. I told her I wasn't listening to her, and I wasn't listening to her, and I should have listened to her, but she was pouring out her heart. I told her I didn't want to listen, so we was at my mom's house, and she took the keys and like, you're gonna listen. So in the midst of it, I got out the car to run after her, and it just went from her basically running towards me. I don't know if she's afraid of me, because Kamora never ever in her life displayed this type of actions. So when I seen the rocks, she wasn't running behind me throwing rocks. The
Your Honor.
police.
Your Honor, could we ask Mom just to speak to whether or not she wants contact with her daughter? Because I don't
the
think
judge
it helps her.
Just 1 minute, just 1 minute. Yes, Ms. McLeod, please continue. Anything else, Ms. McLeod?
No, I was just concerned about all this narrative, Your Honor, since we're not at trial. And I think Mom's testimony should be confined to whether or not she wishes to have ongoing contact with my client.
And that's the reason why I'm allowing the narrative, because I'm really concerned whether I should allow this young lady anywhere near Miss Axum.
Basically, the allegations that was stated by the police, I'm shaking my head. That's not true. She wasn't around me.
What part is not true?
She wasn't running behind me with any rocks.
Okay. Let's put that in the bottle. Let's go on to what happened at the driveway.
What happened at the driveway, we pulled up. She was trying to park the car and go in the house and not talk to the police. The police then assaulted her and they manhandled her. And due to the fact that I did not want to press charges on her, they was gonna arrest me for false information. But my daughter, she told them to, it was a situation where we was trying to get it mediated. Make a long story short, I'm not afraid of my daughter. My daughter's a good daughter. She's just facing mental health issues, and the anger management I do agree of, but staying away from my child, if she chooses to stay away from me about this issue because I called the police, which we could have resolved this between ourselves. If she chooses to stay away from me, then that's fine. But I don't want my daughter being away from me, because my daughter needs me. She needs me. She really needs me, and she's a good child. I don't know what happened the other night. It's something off of the social network, but my daughter is not a bad child at all. She's not, and she's all I have. She's the oldest of 4 siblings. She's there. She helps me. It's just that my daughter was crying out for help, and due to the fact that Atlanta police knew that she was going to file, she wasn't detained, for one. For her
I'm done, Miss Axel. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 19 years old. She tells me that she would like to become a flight attendant. That is an ambition of hers, Your Honor, and she's working on it right now. She tells me she hasn't quite finished high school yet, but she's hoping to finish up so she can go and pursue her dream to become a flight attendant. She denies the allegations in the warrant, Your Honor, and it seems that Mom denies most of them as well. We are not opposed to the signature bond. And of course, we are opposed to any stay away because this is mother and daughter. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. I could grant a surety bond and I could have Miss Kendricks have no contact with her mom. I mean, I could do that. But it's entirely up to Kimora Kendricks and whether she behaves herself. Now, something happened that resulted in Mrs. Axum having to call the police. After that, I'm going strictly by what's in the warrant. All right? I'm going strictly by what's in the warrant because everybody's going to have their own perspective, but I'm going to go by the warrant. And the warrant doesn't paint a pretty picture for Kimora Kendricks. What's even more terrifying is that if any of those allegations are true, the scary part is having someone like you stuck in a tube 30,000 feet up in the air. That's not something I would ever want to put the public at risk at. But presently, based on the information I have and on the state's agreement to a signature bond, on the simple assault family violence is going to be a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial services. And the willful obstruction is a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. The total bond is a $4,500 signature bond through pretrial services. And Ms. Kaleki Axum would have to come down and co-sign this bond. The conditions to the bond: she must report to pretrial once a month. She must show proof that she is seeking MH services or MH treatment, and appointments and her doctor visits must be shown to the pretrial officer every month when she goes visit. She must be compliant with any kind of medication that she takes. She's to have no further violent contact with Kaleki Axum, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. She's also not permitted to drive a vehicle unless she has a licensed driver in the vehicle with her. Although you may have a valid driver's license, you're not allowed to drive a vehicle unless there's another licensed driver seated in the car with you. Do you understand, Ms. Kendricks?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Your next court date is going to be sent to you at your address, I guess, at James Jackson Parkway, or is that your mailing address?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, keep in mind that if there are any future violent contact, if you get arrested again, or you don't show up to court, that $4,500 signature bond will be converted to either a cash bond or a surety bond. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to start the road of recovery. Otherwise, things are just going to get a lot worse. And any future plans to fly the blue skies, you can say goodbye to them. Understood?
All right, spell that name though.
Okay. Last name is Axum, A-X-A-M. And Mr. Pierre Thomas, I believe, I'm sorry, I closed up the screen already. Is it K-A-L-E-K-I?
I believe it's K-E-L-E-K-I.
Repeat.
K-E as an elephant, L-E as an elephant, K-I.
Okay, got it, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, make sure she have valid ID.
All right.
I'll
Ms.
put the
Axum?
address in the chat for her if she wants.
Okay. Ms. Axum, you're going to see a message on the chat from pretrial services as to where to come to co-sign the bond, and you would need to make sure you have a valid government ID with you when you co-sign the bond. Thank you. Next case, please.
Position 16, Tidwell.
Did you say Tidwell?
Yes, Judge.
Damari Ashante Tidwell is accused of criminal trespass causing damage to property, 23 CR 7597G. This is from January 4th of 2023. Ms. Tidwell, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Is that correct, sir? No? Who is Ms. Tidwell's attorney? Ms. Kim?
Miss McLeod, Judge.
Oh, Ms. McLeod?
Oh, yes.
Ms. McLeod, is Shamari Ashante Tidwell someone you were appointed to represent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2018. She had some driving stuff. Out of East Point, she played a no-low too.
All right.
Got a very brief facts of the case is that on January 4, 2023, the officer was dispatched to the incident location, that being 2500 Pleasant Hill Road, South Fulton in Fulton County, Georgia. In reference to damage to property, the officer spoke with the victim in this case being Dominique, traditional spelling Dominique, Finley, Finley, who advised that the defendant arrived at her residence and broke her sliding door window. The victim stated that she was inside the bedroom when she observed the defendant exit her vehicle and approach her door and break the glass with an unknown object. The victim stated that once the window was broken, the defendant then entered her vehicle and immediately fled the scene. Our office has been able to get in contact with the victim. She stated that the defendant they I guess they share a man in common. They have a child with the same man. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant. She states that she was billed an estimated $762.34 for the damage. It seems to be a different charge, I guess. The apartment complex fixed the window, however. She states that she wants no contact with the defendant, and I do believe that she's on the Zoom. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, and a stay away from that incident location. And I just like to put Ms. McLeod on notice that if you just put your email in the chat, the offer from the state in this case is diversion. And so I continue the diversion paperwork and official offer. But if at this time we can sound for Ms. Finley, the victim, that'd be greatly appreciated, Your Honor.
Dominic Finley, if you're present, please start your video and unmute. All right, Ms. McLeod, any objection to a signature bond through the jail and no contact and stay away?
No objection, Your Honor. We're fine with that.
Okay. Bond is going to be set at 2,000. It's a signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Dominic Finley, and to stay away from 2500 Pleasant Hill Road in South Fulton, Georgia. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Thank you. Ms. Tidwell, this is an active case, so be sure to show back up in court when summoned. Thank you.
Position 14, Smith.
State versus Christopher Smith, 23 CR 7608E. Mr. Smith is accused of battery, family violence from August 21st, 2023. Mr. Smith, your attorney will be Mr. Cook. Yes, okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Cook, you're muted, so
Yes.
I just want to be sure. All right, your attorney is Keith Cook, and Mr. Howard.
The total
How many?
20.
Okay.
2021 DUI, failure to appear. Possession of cocaine. He's on probation for that out of Clayton County. They gave him 3 years back in 2021.
Clayton
2020 simple battery conviction. 2018 failure to appear. He got history out of Ohio. 2017 criminal mischief conviction. Criminal damage conviction. 2015 DV causing physical harm conviction. This was level 3. That's it.
Yes,
Mr.
Your
Walker?
Honor. I'm also showing open aggravated assault. I believe the defendant went to first appearance either yesterday or today for That's 23 CP 223759. That is with the same victim. However, in this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1620 Hollywood Road. They spoke to the victim, Miss Naomi Love. She advised that her and her boyfriend, who was the defendant, were engaged in a verbal disagreement, at which time he became physical. He did then subsequently bite her and punch her in her face, causing her lip to bust. The officer did observe teeth and bite marks on her. The state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond, no contact with the victim, Ms. Naomi Love, a stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond, and of course, we would sound for the victim, Ms. Naomi Love.
No one's responding to that. All right, Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. For the record, my client denies the allegations. The 1620 Hollywood Road address is his address. That's where he lives. So I don't think a stay away from that location would be appropriate. He is living off of Social Security disability. He suffers from sickle cell anemia. He has some problems with mobility. So we would ask to avoid any necessity for him to travel to meet pretrial. We would ask for a signature bond out of the jail.
Okay.
And Your Honor, just to clarify, we spoke with the victim and she advised that they both live there, and that's the basis for the stay away. As well as the other open aggravated assault case that they have together, where she's also the victim.
Let me just look at one thing over here. My goodness.
You got no bond and felony today.
Yeah, yes, I saw that. Bond is going to be set at $5,000. That's a surety bond. No contact with Naomi Love, to stay away from the 1620 Hollywood Road in Atlanta, Georgia. He may return one time only to that location to do one of two things. Either verify that Miss Love does not live there, and then he can move back in. Or if she continues to reside there, then he can use that visit to retrieve his personal belongings. If it's the latter, he will have to update the court with his new mailing address. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. His next court date is going to be December 14th. Thank you. You're done.
Position 11.
Okay, I've got it to the right page. Okay. This is State versus Joseph Edward Petrokwik. Sorry about that. Charged with theft by taking in accusation 23 CR 7602B from March 10th, 2023. Mr. Joseph, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Atayi. And any priors?
Third arrest, 2022, out of DeKalb, battery DV. Before that was 1996 for drugs, level 2.
Brief facts of the case, Your Honor, is that based on an investigation, the defendant was captured on a video exiting his vehicle, walking into the victim's property, the victim being Betty, traditional spelling, Kalan, I'm going to say Kelahan, and removing items from her porch. The defendant was identified by his vehicle tag number and his state driver's license, which matched the person in the video. Based on the video, the items stolen were a wire stand, and pictures hanging on the wall with a suggested value of $100. The state's request would be a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, Ms. Kalan, and a stay away from that incident location, which is 610 Brownwood Avenue, Southeast Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia. And if we could sound from Ms. Kalan, as our office has not been able to get in contact with her in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Miss Betty Colon. All right. Ms. Atay, I'm going to do this through pretrial. Bond's going to be set at 2,000. It is a signature bond through pretrial services. He'll need to report to pretrial once a month and to have no contact with Betty Colon and stay away from 610, what was that, Browns Mill Road?
Brownwood
Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. No illegal drugs and no alcohol, no weapons and no firearms. Mr. Petrovich, you need to report to pretrial once a month and in order to maintain your signature bond. And if you don't appear or if you get arrested again, your bond could be revoked and amended to a cash bond. Thank you.
Position 13, Shaman. Schuman.
State versus Wayne Antoine Schuman, accused of battery under accusation 23 CR 7599C from July 9th, 2023. Mr. Schuman, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Kim.
7 total. On probation in Gwinnett for shoplifting. Got a 2023 arrest out of DeKalb County for simple assault. 2021 battery DV arrest. Jail was a recommendation for this.
Okay.
Your Honor, the
Yeah.
brief facts of the case is that on July 10th, it appears to be July 10th of this year, 2023, the officer was dispatched to an information on fight at 980 Howell Mill Road Northwest. The victim stated that the incident took place on 7/9/23. She advised that she was crossing the street at the corner of 10th Street and Northeast and Piedmont Avenue Northeast with his friend Dantes. He advised with his friend Dantes Forsey. And it says that Julius Murray and the defendant, who are friends of the victim's ex-boyfriend, called out the victim. The two approached the victim, and Murray began to accuse the victim of something, at which time Murray attempted to punch the victim, and the defendant actually followed with another attempt to punch the victim, but landed. The two began beating on the victim in the street with their fists and throwing him to the ground. The victim stated that he blacked out briefly but called his brother, who transported him to Northside Hospital. The victim had lacerations on his right temple that required a couple of stitches and abrasions in multiple sites. Dantes Forsey did not get involved in the altercation, but witnessed the entire incident. Our office has been able to get in contact with the victim in this case. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He said he advised that both of his shoulders were dislocated and he sustained a deviated septum. The victim stated that his hospital bills actually totaled to $25,000 as a result of the incident. He stated that the day after the incident, the defendant and his friend was standing outside of his home. He stated that he left the state out of concern for his safety. The victim would like no contact with the defendant and obviously a stay away if he still lives at that location. I think that the victim is on the call, and so if we could sound for him at the appropriate time. His name is Brian Parker, both traditional spellings. The recommendation from the state, and just we're keeping in mind of the open 2021 battery family violence out of DeKalb and the other open case, but a $5,000 surety, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from that incident location, and 1 anger management course. And if at this time we can sound for Mr. Parker, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Oh, he's present. I'm just wondering, is there a Mr. Murray anywhere on our calendars? No?
I don't think I saw it.
Okay. Mr. Parker, if you want to address the court, I'll need to place you under oath. Would you like to? Please unmute.
Absolutely.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Do you have any prior contact with the defendant before the incident?
Before the incident, he was a friend of my ex.
Okay.
So I'm in passing and various things like that.
All right. And have you had any contact with him since that incident?
No, ma'am.
All right. And I understand that you've now moved out of state. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any concerns about him contacting you in any way, form, or manner?
No, I've since changed my number. I don't have the same social media, no anything like that. So, if anything, no, I don't.
All right. Thank you.
All right, no worries.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, my client, Mr. Schuman, claims that it was self-defense, Your Honor. He is gainfully employed as a security officer at a safety and security company. But he's afraid that he's going to get fired if he does not get out of the jail soon enough and report to the job. So we are very concerned. I don't want him to lose his job. He also graduated from high school, and Your Honor, his prior case was only for driving with valid license on December 6, 2018. We didn't know about other case, battery in the cab. It's open case. He's presumed to be innocent, and he claims that he was actually defending himself, trying to stop this whole drama. But here we go. And also Julius Murray, he was not even arrested. I didn't see anywhere about him. So we would like to request for signature on bond for my client who was defending himself.
Okay. Bond is set at 1,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Brian Parker. No contact with Julius Murray also, if he happens to know where he is to stay away from him. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. His next court date is going to be December 12th. So if his current job requires him to carry a firearm, he needs to let his supervisor know that he's under a court order, that he cannot be in possession of any kind of firearm or a weapon. Thank you.
Position 7, noes.
All right, Mr. Parker, you're free to go.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did I say December 12th? I meant December 14. Ms. Bridgewater, did you catch that?
Honestly, Judge, I didn't. But I think we made the announcement at the very beginning, so hopefully everybody else will know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Levante Knowles is accused of simple battery family violence from July 12, 2022. His accusation case is 23 CR 7600G. Mr. Knowles, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors?
No.
All right, no priors. Mr.
Brief facts
Peter?
of the case, Your Honor, is that on July 12, 2022, the officer responded to the incident location 1867 Myrtie, I'm going to say Myrtie Drive, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, here in Fulton County, Georgia. The victim advised the officer that her child's father, who is the defendant, came to the location due to her not taking their child to his grandmother's house. The defendant went to the victim's home and banged on her door aggressively. The victim stated that she opened the door and got in a verbal altercation with the defendant. The victim stated that the defendant headbutted her while she was holding their child. Our office has been able to get in contact with the victim. She states that they are no longer in a relationship and they do not live together despite sharing the one child together. She is currently pregnant with their second child. The incident location is the victim's mother's residence. The victim no longer lives at that location. The victim looks like the victim denied the events in the warrant and stated that the incident never happened. So we defer to her. I think she is on the call today. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim. I guess stay away from that location despite the fact that it's her mother's residence, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And if we could sound for Miss Coriana, Coriana, Williams, Williams. And the recommendation is actually a signature bond through the pretrial services, Your Honor.
Okay. I don't see a Coriana Williams or Coriana, yeah. All right, Miss Kim?
I actually see it right there, Your Honor.
Well, I'm clearly
Coriana.
blind, so.
She
Oh,
just.
there she is. Okay,
Yes.
Coriana, there she is. Okay. Miss Williams, did you want to say something?
Yes, I do want to say something.
All right, you need to start your video.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how to start it.
If the host could just send her a start video prompt. Okay, while we're waiting, Miss Kim, did you have
Yes,
something
Your
to
Honor.
add?
My client is 21 years old, Your Honor, and he has no objection to stay away or no further contact with her, but he has to reside at 6 Church Street, which I think he resides with his mother. So as long as the incident location is not where he resides, so he's okay to stay away from incident location, Your Honor. He has been working at middle school as a custodian, Your Honor, but he's afraid that he may have lost his job by now because of this arrest. He graduated from high school, even with his challenges and disabilities that he's going through. We would like to request for signature on bond through jail. That would be the best. And yet, if Your Honor is inclined to give him signature on bond through pretrial, we will abide by that too. He has no history whatsoever. Thanks.
Miss Williams, any luck?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So I was trying to say that I didn't put out no warrant on
You
him or
need
anything.
to lower the screen to face. I know you have a child, but I need to be able to see your face.
Okay.
And is there a way you can put your child in the crib or something?
Yeah, I can lay him down.
Lower
I
the
let him down.
lower the screen. Okay, raise your right hand. Other right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
I understand that you are expecting another child,
Yes.
and is that child also Mr. Knowles?
Yes.
All right. And do you both currently reside together?
Yes, we do.
All right. And where is that?
2110 Flat Shows, Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, 316.
2110 Flat Shoals Drive?
No. Road.
Flat Shoals Road.
Mm-hmm.
In Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And other than that, how do you feel about him being in the same room with you?
I feel great. I mean, he's a nice person. He helped me with most of my stuff, even without me being pregnant, or if we didn't have a child together, he'd be helping like with me financially and mentally. So, I mean, he's a good person, a good dad. I love being around him. He's sweet.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Williams. Mr. Knowles, on your particular bond is going to be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. You can have no further violent contact with Coriana Williams. In other words, you can go ahead and have communication with Miss Williams. If you both are currently residing together, I don't have a problem with that. It's entirely up to you. But if you don't want to live with her and you want to live with your mother, that's also entirely up to you. But you must report to pretrial once a month. And while you are out on pretrial, you will enroll in a domestic violence intervention program while you're out on a signature bond. Within 30 days, you must report to your pretrial officer that you are enrolled in a qualified program. And it's a 24-week program where, and understand this is a condition of bond, not a condition of any kind of sentencing. You would have to attend those classes is once a week. You pay for those classes out of your own pocket. No further violent contact with Coriana Williams, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. Your next court date will be sent to you. Is 2110 Flat Shoals Road your current address?
No, C38 Church Street.
So you do not live at 2110 Flat Shoals Road?
No.
All right, let's see now. Yeah, I have the Church Street address. Okay, we'll send you a notice there. Please be sure to tell pretrial that you're when you enroll in those domestic violence classes. Thank you.
Position 4, Cloud. Put your mask up for me, Cloud.
Antonio Cloud is accused of loitering and prowling from November 29th, 2023, case 23 CR 7603B. All right, it looks like he's got another case open. Yes, Mr. Cloud, your attorney is Ms. Abden, and you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Yes, Mr. Howard?
29 total. This is third arrest this month. He was arrested on the 9th for trespass, on the 4th for trespass. 2021 probation, 2019 probation, 2019 shoplifting NOLO. That's all.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor. In the open criminal trespass, that case number is 23 CR 006897D. In that case, he broke into a business, and that's similar facts to this case. To this case, law enforcement was dispatched to an address on Arden Avenue where they met with the victim, a Mrs. Crystal Fox. She advised that the defendant jumped over her back fence, and then he came onto her porch and was looking through her window and pulling on her doorknobs. At that time, she was able to contact law enforcement. He has several convictions for criminal trespass, loitering, and again, that other open criminal trespass. So the state would be asking for a $3,000 surety bond. Stay away from the instant location. No contact with the victim is Crystal Fox, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond. And I do believe I see the victim, Ms. Fox, on the line, so I would sound for her.
Ms. Fox, did you want to add anything to the case? You would need to unmute and start your video.
Thank you, Your Honor. Oh, I thought I started it. There we are.
All right. Was it at Arden Avenue, the location?
Yes, it was.
All right. And do you know Mr. Cloud in any way, form, or manner?
No, I do not. He told the officer that we did, and I was just recommended that I say to you, I'm a, I don't want to say celebrity.
I'm so sorry. May I place you under oath?
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Now, what would you like to tell me?
Yes, ma'am. I am a recognized figure in the community, so my neighbors know who I am, and that's why I think he says I know who he is. He may have walked through my neighborhood before, but I do not know him personally. I wanted to just speak because he was on. There's a lot next to 979, which is 973. I own that lot as well, so I would just like the lot 973 to be included in his so that he cannot come on 973 or on my property at 979.
Now, what is this location? Is it a subdivision or is it just a street of homes?
It's a street of homes. There's an empty lot on 973, but my home, my physical home, is 979.
No. Okay, understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client would not object to a stay away from both the incident location and the adjacent lot. He is 38 years old. He's born in Georgia, has lived here his whole life. His mom, his brother live here in Georgia as well. So he does have strong ties to the community. He does reside in Fulton County. He has a valid address. And so he also understands his obligation to return to court. So he's not a flight risk at this time. He's also gainfully employed, Your Honor. It's my understanding that he is concerned about losing his job due to the fact that he's been in jail. And so I'm asking Your Honor to take that into consideration when setting bond today. Given his indigency, Your Honor, I am requesting a signature bond, and that be through pretrial services as he was recommended for level 3.
Right.
Your Honor, briefly, in that other open case that I mentioned, the case number, he was already given a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. So I can't speak for pretrial, but I would imagine they would be coming off that bond. So I don't think he would be eligible for a second signature bond through pretrial services. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeking a surety bond.
Right. Mr. Cloud, on November 6, 2023, Judge Morrow granted you a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. A condition of that bond was to make sure that you report to pretrial as well as not get arrested again. Pursuant to this new arrest, your $5,000 signature bond through pretrial is revoked and amended to a surety bond. So presently, in the previous case, you do have a $5,000 surety bond. On this new case, the loitering and prowling, your bond is going to be set at $2,000. So your total bond in order to be released is $7,000. You are to stay 500 yards away. That's the length of 5 football fields from 979 and 973 Arden Avenue in Southwest Atlanta. You're to have no contact with Crystal Fox, which means that you are to stay 200 yards away from her wherever she happens to be. You're not to contact her in any way, form, or manner, not even on social media. Your next court date is going to be December 14th, at which time we will address both cases, which is this current case, as well as the prior case, 23 CR 006897B.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Howard, would you send me an order coming off the bond, or do I have to do one?
Oh, I already typed it. I typed it up a long time ago.
All right, thank
You
you.
want a copy of it when I send it out?
Yes, please, thank you.
Okay.
Righty, and next case, please.
Judge, what was the bond?
It's 2,000 for the current case. And his prior signature bond has been revoked.
Okay, thank you. Position 3, Mr. Kentu Zabala.
No time to when y'all want me to go.
Anthony Cantu de Villa is 23 CR 7610D, accused of criminal trespass, simple battery, and one more count of simple battery, family violence. So that's 1 count of criminal trespass, 1 count of simple battery, 1 count of battery, and 1 count of simple battery, domestic violence. He's also got a prior case, 23 CR 7467D. Mr. Cantu de Villa, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Any priors, Mr.
11 total. Last arrest was on Tuesday in front of you. Before that was July, failure to appear. 2022, trespass, criminal damage to property. Another arrest for trespass in 2022, failure to appear. 2021, simple battery DV. That's all.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1371 Hampton Road, where they spoke to both victims, Ms. Michelle Nuez and Mr. Nathan Scott. The female victim is the sister of the defendant. The defendant came to her residence She stated that the defendant is not allowed at that location while their father is not home. However, he welcomed himself in. At that time, a verbal disagreement occurred. He took car keys and threw it at the female victim. He then subsequently slapped her. Her boyfriend at the time, or her boyfriend, I should say, Nathan Scott, at that time then interceded, and then the defendant subsequently attacked him. Her boyfriend, who was the male victim, was treated at the hospital, and he had to receive 10 stitches in his head resulting from the attack. To each count, the state is seeking a $2,000 surety bond, a stay away from the incident location, no contact with both victims, and a no weapons, drugs, or alcohol provision while out on bond. And of course, that was sound for both victims, Ms. Michelle Menuez and Mr. Nathan Scott.
Okay, maybe okay, I'm so sorry. All right, Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client does not have any money for bond, Your Honor. He was just recently arrested. At the present moment, his employment is kind of sporadic. These were his family members. He just got out of jail, and I think he needed somewhere to stay. And that was just the issue, Your Honor. And that, of course, is his family. So that was naturally where he went. I know the court may feel that he just got arrested, so maybe he should not have a signature bond this time, but I would still ask that the court consider giving him a signature bond, just given I think that what is alleged against him is inaccurate, Your Honor, in terms of him attacking the boyfriend. I don't think that is exactly what happened. I think it was for a situation where he was attacked. So I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond, Your Honor, so he can get out of jail.
We grant signature bonds because as a privilege to make sure that they don't reoffend. I'm not certain what happened. I only have the warrant as the most unbiased view of what's happened so far. So I'm really concerned. I don't even have the alleged victims here to give me a different point of view. So I'm not going to deny him a signature bond just because he got arrested, but he doesn't qualify for a signature bond because he got rearrested within 24 hours of being released, which is ridiculous. Clearly, Mr. Cantu Devella does not take much to heart that he was given the privilege of a signature bond in the prior case. I am going to grant the state's request. It is going to be a $2,000 surety bond on each count. His total bond is $8,000. He's got a $1,500 signature bond through the jail on the trespass case at the gas station, and then that will stay. But this $8,000 surety bond, he doesn't qualify for a signature bond. Getting in trouble with the law can be very expensive, and I hope Mr. Cantu Devilla is beginning to recognize that. He's to have no contact with Michelle Munoz, which is Munoz, and Nathan Scott, Scott. He's to stay away from 1371 Northampton Road in Alpharetta, Georgia, 30009. He is not to return to that location at all and not communicate with Ms. Munoz or Mr. Scott in any way, form, or manner. His next court date is December 14th, along with his, did we give him a December 14th for the next case as well?
I believe it's going to be the 12th because today is the first day for the 14th.
All right. So this case will also be reset to December 12th and 7467. Let's go ahead and put his other case 23 CR 007467D. And 23 CR 007469D. Oh, that's a co-defendant case, so disregard that.
So you want me to go ahead and put this one on the 12th?
Yeah, both of them.
Both of these on the 12th. Okay.
Both of these on the 12th, yeah. 7610D and
7467D.
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Position 9, Muhammad.
And that concludes my business before the court. May I be excused?
Yes, Ms. McLeod, you have a great day and I will see you tomorrow.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You say 10, Francois?
Position 9, Mohammed.
Okay. Renita Lowe is 20 CR 7604D, accused of.
Are we doing Muhammad? Muhammad, number 9, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. So this is Jamal Mohammed, case number 23 CR 007607606H, accused of simple assault and criminal trespass on October 29th, 2023. Mr. Mohammed, you have a right to remain silent as advised, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Howell?
17 total. 2022 was the last. Battery obstruction. That was out of Riverdale. Got an arrest from 2022, obstruction, trespass on Marta, and battery. Another 2022 arrest on Marta, simple assault. 2019 simple battery NOLO. 2018 simple battery DV, 2 counts, conviction. 2018 simple battery, 2 counts of trespass, family violence, conviction.
That's
26.
good. That's good. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Bankhead MARTA station located at 1225 Donnelly Hollowell Parkway, where they spoke to the victim, Ms. Whitney Wilson. She advised that she was on the platform. The defendant approached her aggressively and slapped her cell phone out of her hand. The state is seeking a $1,500 surety bond on each count, totaling a $3,000 surety. No contact with the victim, Ms. Whitney Wilson. He has previously been suspended from MARTA on May 4th of last year. And it's my understanding that he's still under an active suspension. So we are asking for a stay away and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. We would sound for the victim, Ms. Whitney Wilson.
Ms. Wilson? All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes, my client, Mr. Muhammad, is 25 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia, Your Honor. He does reside with a grandmother, and so he's not a flight risk. He actually has a job as a cook at Iron Hill Brewery, but because of this arrest, he's afraid that he's going to lose a job that he has been working there for the last 2 months. He graduated from high school, and he does not know Whitney Wilson, and he was trying to stop the video recording of him without his permission. However, he did not do any kind of, he didn't mean to scare anybody off or anything like that. We would like to request for a signature on bond. And if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we already have $1,000 for each charge set. So a total of $2,000. We would like to keep it that way instead of increasing it. Thanks.
$2,000 surety bond, $1,000 on each count, and to stay away from all MARTA property, whether it's a train station, bus station, actual train, actual bus, sidewalks, parking lots, bathrooms, wherever. He's not allowed on any MARTA property until further order of the court. Doesn't matter whether he has a suspension or not. This is a court order. He's not allowed near any MARTA property. And of course, no contact with Whitney Wilson. His next court date is December 14th.
Can I get a signature bond?
You don't qualify, sir?
Thank you. So what's my total?
5,000 surety bond.
No, 2,000. It's $1,000 in each count.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I meant to say, I'm sorry, Judge. I wrote that on his 3 card. I just. You're good. You're done.
Thank you.
2,000 surety bond. Position 5, Daily.
Right. Richard Daly's got a charge of battery, family violence, cruelty in the 3rd degree from a November 18th, 2023 incident. The case is now 23 CR 7569D. Mr. Daly, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Atay. Any priors, Mr.
Second arrest. I forgot to write down the last arrest, the year anyway, but the charge was selling marijuana, possession of drug-related objects, This is a jail recommendation.
All right.
Yeah, but this case has already been accepted as a felony transfer. The paperwork has been submitted. I think that we're here for only count 2. I think that he was already given a $3,500 signature bond through the pretrial services on count 1, which is that battery family violence. But the brief facts of the case, just to kind of refresh, is that on November 19, 2023, the officers responded to 1607 Jonesboro Road, Southeast Atlanta, Georgia, and Fulton County, Georgia, 30315. In response to a domestic dispute, the officer met with Nicola Daly, Nichola Daley, who advised that she was assaulted by her ex-husband, the defendant, during the domestic dispute. She advised that he grabbed her by the neck with his hands and punched her repeatedly in her torso inside the residence. The victim indicated that the area she was where she was struck and showed the officer the side of her neck and her left wrist and broken fingernails and her back as well. The victim advised that the incident occurred on the day before, which would have been November 18, 2023. And her son, who is a juvenile, so we will call him CD as his initials, actually called 911. She stated that she was screaming for help downstairs during the attack, and CD, the juvenile, called 911, as I stated, and that the police showed up the following day. Your Honor, I believe there has already been, as I stated before, the thing set on the count 1. As it relates to count 2, we'd be asking for a $1,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victims, both the juvenile and the adult, a stay away from that incident location, that 1607 Jonesboro Road, Southeast location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And if at this time we can sound for Ms. Daly, that'd be greatly appreciated, Your Honor.
Ms. Nicola Daly? So let me see. So yesterday, this was a battery family violence charge, right?
That is correct.
Today, the state has amended it and added a cruelty to children in 3rd degree.
That is correct. And today, the DA's office has accepted it as an aggravated assault.
So if I can, we didn't necessarily amend it. We filed both accusations, but the second accusation was not pulled through. I had a communication with the clerk's office. It was my understanding that the second charge was supposed to be on the calendar. It didn't make it to the calendar, so a bond was not set.
Okay. And the state is still okay with the 3,500 signature bond through pretrial on the battery charge?
Well, that wasn't our request yesterday. We asked for a signature bond. We asked for a surety bond, but the court gave a signature bond.
I just want to be sure. Okay. All right. And the order to transfer the case has been submitted to Ms. Bridgewater?
Miss Gray, I sent it to Miss Grace. I could send it forward it to Miss Bridgewater.
No, it should come to me.
Oh, I sent it to you. Yes.
Okay. But now I'm a little confused. What charges are on today's calendar? Because I still show the battery, family violence, and the cruelty to children.
It's the new charge of cruelty in the 3rd degree.
Okay, so there's only one charge on today's calendar?
Correct. That's being added on to this case. Okay. And
so when I turn my paperwork in, but for position number 5, the only charge should be cruelty to children.
No, it will be an amended bond order. It will be amended bond order with the battery family violence at 3,500 signature bond through pretrial. And the cruelty is going to be a $10,000 surety bond. No further contact with.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Sorry about that. Well, the case is being transferred. That's why I'm just setting a bond for first appearance to deal with them. Oh, but I'll be glad to hear. Let me know why I should amend it.
Well, I'm asking for a signature bond through pretrial on this charge for the cruelty to children. Your Honor already set a $3,500 signature bond yesterday for the battery family violence. So I don't know, a $10,000 surety bond for the cruelty to children seems that excessive. As I stated.
No, it's not. If it's going up to be an aggravated assault, which is what I was thinking yesterday.
Well, I would like to state that my client denies the allegations. He did turn himself in on November 28th after the complaining witness called to tell him that she contacted the police. He states that it was only a verbal disagreement and then he left the home. He denies the allegations, states that the complaining witness made the report because he left the home and would not return or make contact with her. He's living somewhere else now. Your Honor didn't order a stay away. I mean, I think you ordered a stay away, but because he doesn't live there anymore, so we didn't object to that. He doesn't want any contact with her. So I mean, and really this should have been brought up yesterday. It was in the warrant. Mr. Walker did state that the child called 911. So I'm just asking for it to remain the $3,500 signature bond.
Has he had his initial appearance with felony court? The 11 a.m. first appearance?
He hasn't, Your Honor, because we requested the transfer yesterday and we just heard back from the DA's office today.
Mhm.
And of course, he was in the C counter with us yesterday.
All right. It's going to be a $10,000 surety bond on the cruelty in the third degree. No further contact with Nicola Daly. And I'm going to rescind the third-party transfer of children. So this will be an amended bond order. The case is going to be transferred to Superior Court, so he'll need to have his initial appearance with the appropriate judge tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning. And then I'll let that judge decide how to address the bond issues on a felony case. Thank you.
Position 12. Seymour.
Yes, that's what it is. Oh my God.
Jakari Seymour is accused of criminal trespass on November 29, 2023. Case number is 23 CR 7598E. He has two open cases, 22 CR 6963E and 22 CR 8317E. Mr. Seymour, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Abden. And this is from a November 29th incident. Yes, Mr. Howard, anything else with respect to Mr. Seymour?
The 8317E, that's 23 CR or 22?
They're both 22 CR, unless it's a typo in my calendar.
Yeah, I got a 2023 trespass arrest, one from 2022, shoplifting as well. Yeah, open trespass and damage to property. That's it. Fourth arrest.
Very brief with the facts, and that is that on November 29, 2023, the officer responded to the incident location 930 Spring Street Northwest, which is actually University House, Midtown Apartments, on a criminal trespass call. The officer, the reporting party in the case was the security guard, Gregory Robinson. Mr. Robinson stated that he received a call from a resident that the defendant was sitting in the study hall, and also he, at that point, went to the defendant went to the 18th floor where he was observed pulling on apartment door handles. The defendant was actually served a criminal trespass notice from that location on 10/21/2023 this year. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away from that location.
All right. Well, it looks like the state's agreeing to a signature bond through pretrial. Ms. Abden, what do you think?
Your Honor, I have no objection to the signature bond through pretrial, as you may assume. He would agree to the stay away and a no further contact if one is necessary. And a little bit about him is he's been in Georgia for 11 years. He does have strong ties to the community. He lives with his grandma, understands his obligation to return to court, and he's not a flight risk. He's also at Georgia Tech now for engineering.
He's an enrolled student?
Correct.
And he's got 3 open cases?
That is what I was told, Your Honor. So I'm not entirely sure, if those classes are held online or if he took a break. But when I asked about schooling, that's what I was told. And so we are, agreeing to the signature bond through pretrial.
All right. He's got a bench warrant in 22 CR 6963E before Judge Morrison. He's got a court date on December 6, 2023. His bond on this new charge is $1,000 surety bond to stay away from all property. This is the Georgia Tech housing, University House.
University House Midtown Apartments. Yeah, I'm assuming it's Georgia Tech.
He's to stay away from all Georgia Tech property. I'll be glad to amend that to once I have proof of actual enrollment for this semester at the Georgia Tech, whether it's online or whatever. His next court date is going to be December 14th. However, he does have a court date with Judge Morrison. So, Ms. Abdon, you might want to let the clerk know that Mr. Seymour may still be at the jail unless he bonds out. And but his
Your Honor,
it's December.
I apologize. He has a bench warrant for failure to appear. Is that what it is? I'm just a little confused.
It says dormant case warrant issued by Judge Morrison.
Got you. Okay, we'll look into that. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. By the present time, it's $1,000 surety bond. Stay away from all Georgia Tech. And we're going to reset it to December 14th, along with the other case, which is 22 CR 8317E.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next case, Deputy Francois.
Position 1, Black.
Jeremy Caden Black is accused of criminal trespass from a September 18th, 23 incident. The accusation is 23 CR 7595E. Mr. Black, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any prize, Mr. Howard?
No, you need a cosign.
All right.
Your Honor, a very brief facts of the case is that on September 18, 2023, the officer was patrolling Old National Highway in reference to a disorderly patron. The officer, in the process of the officer patrolling, he was flagged down by bus operator Demetria McCaskill, when the officer arrived, the bus operator stated that the defendant had damaged the bus at the intersection of Old National Highway and Flat Shoals Road, South Fulton, 30349 in Fulton County, Georgia. She stated that the defendant boarded the bus in an attempt to pay with his phone. She stated that she instructed him to put his phone under the machine so that it could read his Breeze card on the mobile app. She stated that I guess he could not get it to work and he got mad because he did not receive a courtesy ride. And so he punched the front door as he exited, causing a spiderweb pattern and breaking the glass. Estimated damage is about $500. The bus had to be taken out of service for safety reasons. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, the completion of one anger management course, and to abide by any and all active MARTA suspensions. And I'd also like to let whoever the public defender know that the offer in this case is a diversion offer. And if you put your information in the chat, I can send you the packet over at this moment. Nothing further to add from the state at this time, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Abdon, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through, Mr. Cook, it'll be a $2,000.
It's me, Your Honor. I'm representing Mr. Black.
Ms. Abdon is going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. I'll need his father.
Yes, and if I may be heard on that, Your Honor, my client, although he's 18, he has graduated from high school. He's not living with his family. He actually is currently living at a shelter. It's the Lost and Found Youth Center. He did provide the mailing address for that youth center. His family was recently evicted from their home, and they all separated to stay at shelters, unfortunately. So he also told me that if he does not get out of jail today, he might lose his bed. And I've been trying to reach out to the youth center to see if we can help him out with that. And given the fact he has no priors, no criminal history, he is also employed, Your Honor. He works at UPS. I am requesting a signature bond through the jail, or that Your Honor waive the co-signer requirement.
How is he going to get to work if he's not allowed on a MARTA bus or train? Because he can't use that.
I understand, Your Honor. So I did ask him about that. It's my understanding that he will have a suspension starting on the 1st, and he will figure out how to get to work, Your Honor. And he will abide by whatever bond condition he's required to abide by.
Any objection to pretrial, Mr. Pierre Thomas? Is that what you asked? I think you said.
Yeah,
pretrial,
the
right?
state asked for pretrial, Your Honor.
Okay. $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. He needs to update and confirm his mailing address within 30 days of release. He's to report to pretrial services once a month. Stay away from all MARTA property in accordance with any active suspension. So he has a suspension beginning tomorrow, so he cannot use the buses or the trains. And if he violates this, make sure when you come back to jail, bring $2,000 with you.
And Your Honor,
yeah.
Sorry, just to clarify, the stay away will be in accordance with
any active
order
suspension
or the active suspension.
Any active suspension. So if it starts tomorrow,
it starts January 1st, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to make the court aware of that.
Okay. But if he gets in trouble again with MARTA, I mean, Uber is pretty expensive. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So no cosigner?
I guess not. He's living somewhere else.
Okay.
Judge Law, I do have a quick announcement for position number 2, Jay Bird. We're actually in the process of trying to find out if they're still currently at Alpharetta or if they've been transported here back to the jail. So if you can give us a couple minutes on that.
Sure. All right. If there's no one else, I'm just going to go down the calendar. Position 1's a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. Stay away from MARTA in accordance with any active suspension. Position 2, we are on hold. Position 3 is $8,000 surety bond, reset December 12th, along with the other open case ending in 7467D. Position 4 is a $2,000 surety bond. I wrote everything down but that. So thank you. I believe that was with Miss Crystal Fox, right? Yeah. And that's a $2,000 surety bond along with the other companion case ending in 6897B. Mr.
Daly.
Position 5 Daly is a $10,000 surety bond. And that's on the cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. And this is an amended bond order. And this case is going to be transferred to the Superior Court. So he'll have initial appearance tomorrow. Kendricks is a 4,500 signature bond through pretrial with the cosigner. 7 Knowles, a 5,000 signature bond through pretrial. 8 Renita Lowe. Any announcement for Renita Lowe?
Yes, Your Honor. That is a pad diversion case. I have submitted the consent bond order. And if Your Honor would like to place the facts on the record, I will let the state do that if they want to do that.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but this is for Mr. Cook. We're trying to call you. We have Miss Jade Bird.
Sorry, Mr. Cook, you're on mute.
You're still muted, Mr. Cook.
Is that a call coming through now?
Yes, we're gonna
Okay.
try one more time.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
will take that.
Okay. So Renita Lowe, you can go ahead and submit the consent order. Does the state consent to this case being transferred to PAD?
Yes, we do, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
And Your Honor, I already submitted the order.
Sounds excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Position 9, Mohammed's a $2,000 surety bond to stay away from all model property.
Yeah.
Reset date December 14. Tam Pham is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. Position 11 is a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. Position 12, Seymour is a $1,000 surety bond, and it's going to be reset along with the other case ending 22 CR 8317E. Position 13, Schuman is a $1,500 surety bond, reset date December 12. Position 14 is a $5,000 surety bond, reset date, was that also December 12?
December 14th.
December 14th, excuse me, thank you. Position 15, Spadell is a $500 surety, reset date December 14th. 16, Tidwell's a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. 17, Tucker is a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. So the only one we're waiting on is
Position 2.
2 and Jade Bird. Okay. All right, as soon as Deputy Francois lets me know, we will resume with that. We'll just be in a brief recess. Thank you.
Judge, I can go over the announcements real quick, or you probably already know.
Yeah.
Someone was accepted to the pad. That's going to be position 8, Low, Renita.
Yep, correct.
Thank you.
All right, we're just waiting on position 2, Jade Bird.
Yes. Judge, we're ready for, Ms. Byrd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is State versus Jade Bird. Ms. Bird, my name is Judge Long, and your case number is 23 CR 7609F. You were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail, and the prosecutor has formally accused you of battery, family violence, and cruelty in the third degree from a November 29th, 2023 incident. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you this afternoon is Mr. Keith Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
No.
Okay,
Jail was a recommendation.
all right.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched at 16 Saratoga Drive, where they spoke to the victim, Mr. Tyree Bartholomew. He advised to the officer that his living girlfriend and him were engaged in a verbal disagreement. At that time, she became physical, and she threw a shot glass at him, striking him with the shot glass. When the officer spoke to the defendant, she admitted to throwing said shot glass at the victim. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with the victim, and stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And we are also asking for a 2-day anger awareness course.
All right, is Mr. Bartholomew present? No, okay, Mr. Cook?
Yes, again, Your Honor, my client is denying many of the specifics of the charge. She is a nurse here in Alpharetta Village Park for seniors. She has one child, 13 years old. And we would certainly like to get a signature bond. If through the jail, that would be better for her.
I'm sorry, she's a nurse where, at Emory?
No, at Village Park for seniors at a senior facility.
Okay. All right. On the battery is going to be 1,500, excuse me. On the cruelty is going to be 500. The total bond is going to be $2,000. It is going to have to be a signature bond through pretrial services, since I don't have the alleged victim here to give me another point of view. Her next court date will be sent to her current mailing address, and we have, I just want to make sure the address is correct. I have a Saratoga Drive, is that correct? All right. I'll allow her to return to that location. No further violent contact with Tyree Bartholomew.
If I could, we have contact with the victim, and he's requesting that she is not allowed to return to the residence. He is concerned for his safety.
Oh, really?
Yes, we have had contact with the victim. That was his request.
Okay, I thought it was no violent contact. Okay, Mr. Cook?
So let me be clear. He says that he's okay with no violent contact, but he does not want her to reside at that location.
Just spoke to him on the phone, and he was just asking me, he's gonna come do the.
That was his request to our victim advocate.
And my daughter is there right now.
That is a problem. Okay. In that case, it is going to be no contact with Tyree Bartholomew, and to stay away from 16 Saratoga Drive in Alpharetta, Georgia. She's allowed a one-time visit to go retrieve her belongings and her daughter, and then she will have to update the court with her new mailing address within 30 days of being released. Next court date will be sent to her new mailing address. You'll need to make sure that you report to pretrial once a month, that you stay away from Mr. Bartholomew and not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner, which means that from this point onwards, I don't know if she's even bothered paying attention, or should I even bother talking anymore? Should I bother talking? Mr. Cook, what do you think?
Yes, please.
All right. All right. Ms. Bird, are you interested in listening to the restrictions, or should I just? All right. As I was saying, no further contact with Tyree Bartholomew. You have to stay 200 yards away from him, and you cannot communicate with him in any way, form, or manner, which means that from this point onwards, you're not allowed to talk to him on the phone. All right. If you engage in any form of communication with Mr. Bartholomew, the state can always have your bond revoked and you charged with a felony count. You're allowed a one-time visit to 16 Saratoga Drive in Alpharetta, Georgia. In order for you to retrieve your belongings, you can make this visit, but you must have a police officer accompany you, at which time you can retrieve your belongings and your daughter and update the court with your new mailing address. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Your next court date will be sent to your new address. Thank
What was
you.
that bond amount?
2,000 signature bond through pretrial, 500 and 1,500.
All right.
All right, we're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, everyone, enjoy your evening and I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.